Of a packed Ellen Road. Put that into perspective, Facebook had just launched a few weeks before that game. It's been a while, so there's going to be some noise that's going to welcome Liverpool and Leeds United as they run out at 4:30 this afternoon. Hello, welcome along to our Matchday Live preview show presented by Standard Chartered. I've got Phil Thompson and Gary Gillespie with me to look ahead to a cracker of an away trip to face Leeds United. Proper old-fashioned throwback football. Before we start on this, what are your memories like of Ellen Road as players? Good, bad, indifferent?
Well, I loved Ellen Road. I can go back when I first started, 72, 73.
Did you mumble that?
And Johnny Giles and Billy Bremner was still playing, Norman Hunter, Eddie Gray. So it was fantastic. Don Revie's side. Ellen Road is my favourite other ground.
Yeah.
You know, not any of the other big names. I used to love it, and it will be great to have a packed Ellen Road today. So it was wonderful. And they were our big rivals in those early 70s because of Don Revie. So it was a wonderful game. And this, obviously, then when I came with Gerard Houllier, those sides, we had some really big games. Remember the 4-3 one at Ellen Road, the Mark Viduka game. And it was since we ever lost a game, I will not know. And the FA Cup game that we had, which was on the way to doing the treble. So it does hold some good memories, some bad ones.
Yeah.
It's a long time, isn't it, since they've been back in the Premier League, and I felt a little bit sorry for them last year as well because they didn't have like the crowds and like the atmosphere that they probably wanted. So they've obviously got the benefit of that this year. I think it's one of the iconic football grounds in England. I only played there a couple of times with Coventry, I think it was, and they were kind of on the wane a little bit there, so it wasn't quite the same. But I always remember growing up watching Liverpool and Leeds, and especially Leeds as well. Leeds had a lot of Scottish players at the time as well, like say Eddie Gray, who I still think is involved at the football club at this moment in time. So it was always like a place that I liked to go and visit.
Been quite a worrying week for the management staff, not knowing what team you can pick, I suppose, is a secondary thing. The fact that he can play the Brazilians, common sense has prevailed, but it was quite a worrying situation, that, wasn't it, for him?
Worrying just for the staff, it was for us fans as well, because you were watching, you're looking at the news, waiting for it to come up, what's going to happen, and it's come through quite late. But I do think common sense. You know, the Premier League with the backing of, well, not backing of the government, they are on red list. You're not allowed to travel, so the hands were tied. So you do what's right on behalf of the country. The Premier League have backed it. So I really don't see why we should have had to pay the price. So the worry for everybody, yes, it had to be granted by FIFA. We all know about the 5-day rule and all this, but sense had to prevail. I was so glad that it did come up because we've got another international break coming up, which would create even more problems. So it is great that we've got our lads all ready to play again.
I think that's a big thing, isn't it? Because you've got like another, I think it's another couple, haven't you? You've got one October and one in November as well. So hopefully it gets sorted out and you don't have this hullabaloo about, you know, can they play or can they not play. So the sooner it gets sorted, obviously, the better, I think, for everybody concerned.
There seems to be some kind of standoff, though, doesn't there? And you mentioned October there. Is that the worry that, this one's been okay for this weekend because it needed a decision quick, but what happens in October?
Well, that's it. There might be a little bit of a trade-off happened. And it's, look, we'll let you play this time, but when this comes round, you've got to release your players. Oh, hold on a minute, it's not that easy. It's a worldwide pandemic that we're in, and there's certain places which are worse off. You know, and Brazil might be going, well, have a look at your own country. You know, your cases are all rising. You've got a similar problem, but so there might be a standoff. Yes, we'll let them play this time, but come October, we demand that they come through. Let's hope there's not, because we've got to adhere to the restrictions by the government, and if they are still on a red list, they are not allowed to travel, and that's the way it is. And I think everybody has to sort of be in line with each other for the safety of people.
OK, we'll come back to that a little bit later on. When I spoke to Fabinho earlier this week, he was in the dark about whether he could feature in this one today. Thankfully, that, as we say, there has been resolved, and we'll wait to see if he's in the starting lineup. Here's the Brazilian reflecting on the start the Reds have made to the campaign.
I think it's a good start. In the first two games, we had two victories, and that was important. How we win, and the first game home win as well. And then the third game we play against Chelsea. Chelsea is one of the strongest teams in the league. He's the actual European champion. So it was a hard game, but I think we played really well. We played a really good game. We didn't win the game, but there was a lot of positive things about this game. And yeah, it will not be hard this season. A lot of things are really strong. We will have often tough games like that, but we're ready for this.
It's a group where so many of you have recommitted again, fresh contracts for so many. This group of players are hungry to repeat that success, aren't they, that you brought here already before?
Yes, of course. The club gives us the confidence, sign new contracts. We are really happy to play for Liverpool, to have a long contract. This place is really nice to play. This group is a winning group. Is a group who work really hard. Our ambience on the pitch, on the dressing room is really nice. So I'm really happy that this team we play long together.
The intensity really ramps up, doesn't it? Champions League begins with a massive night against AC Milan. Next week, there's 2 Premier League games in that week as well. How do you feel that might affect the rhythm of this Liverpool team?
It will be really intense, it will be tough, but we're ready for this. I'm excited for this moment. We will play like each 3 days, so everyone needs to be ready. The manager will need every player. So the mentality of the group is really good. Everyone is ready for this. Everyone is in a good shape, so we're very excited for this moment.
And Leeds this weekend, what are you expecting from them?
Leeds is a really intense team, is a really good team. We played there the last year without supporters and without fans, and it was really tough. It was a tough game, it was 1-1 I think. And we know their qualities, and I think with the fans will be something more for them. But as I said, almost all the games are hard and tough in the Premier League. We want to go there and win the game.
Yeah, you would presume that he would start that game today. Now he's been given the clearance. It's what else does that midfield comprise of, do you think? We presume Henderson will start as well. 7 games in 22 days, they're all going to play, but what do you predict this team might be?
I would like, and obviously you can't sort of look too much, Keita, obviously the problems that he's had on international duty, will he be ready sort of mentally as well as physically? Will he be ready for it? Because he seems to be the flavour, hasn't he, in these opening games. Harvey Elliott got an injury. Will that have cleared up? Maybe difficult for such a young man. I would like to see how it's going to work with Thiago coming in. I really, really do. Seeing how he sort of is going to, with Fabinho and Henderson. I think, yeah, you've got some legs in there, but you need to go and keep the ball with these, because they will have a go with the crowd behind them. You would expect them. They do like a high press. So it's having people who are going to be good in possession. I would like to see that 3. If that doesn't happen, which we've not done in these games, is have the likes of Oxlade-Chamberlain, who's going to have a shot from outside the box. I think that's an area what we've been lacking in the early games.
I think if you go for the experienced 3 is like the 3 that, like Tomo mentioned there, Thiago, Fabinho and Henderson. You just wonder, is there have they got the legs in there that, you know, like Thiago? Obviously got great ability, great awareness in picking a pass. Henderson is probably the one with the legs. Fabinho will sit in front of the back four and protect it. You know what? I'd put Harvey Elliott back in. I think he doesn't deserve. I mean, it's not be a case of being dropped; it's a case of being left out and rested. But from what I've seen so far, that little combination that he has down the right-hand side with Salah, Trent Alexander-Arnold, I think that works really well for us at this moment in time. So I wouldn't be surprised if he starts.
And if he's fit, Stick. I've absolutely, because
I think it was more a precaution, Tommy. He was training normally during the week.
He's been exceptional. If he's fit, yes, he plays, because I think, as you said, it has worked. And I think when you're looking for those players to gel on either side, it's great, because there's an understanding there. Sometimes he can drift out wide and then allow Mo to come inside and to get that ball in between the lines. So yes, that is the obvious one. I'm thinking if the young boy has got a knock, what do you do? And I think Thiago is the one.
I think the great thing we're talking about here is options, isn't it? I mean, like, you go back to like last season and like the options were few and far between, but it's great having these options as a manager.
Looked a lot better, doesn't it?
How does it work during the week? The one name that we haven't mentioned, of course, is a player that has never played at Ellen Road as an opposition player in front of a crowd before, in James Milner. You know, as an assistant manager, would he be sticking close to you in training and putting that flea in your ear, Tomo? You know, it's a big day for me, this. Is the gaffer going to pick me, or? It's
a huge day, and he has been his go-to man for big games, because you know he's got the temperament to actually play this. Yes, he's maybe not as quick with his feet, but you're looking for energy, you're looking for people to close down, set a marker with a tackle. James Milner can do that for you in that first hour of game and it's quite happy then to make way. It could be, but again, it comes down to those options there, and this is a sentimental one. It's not going to affect James Milner in any way. He's too experienced. But yet that is an option, and it's lovely. You've looked at the bench over these 3 games and you've gone, now you can turn to the bench, and some players not been able to make the bench. So good options in there.
I couldn't believe it was his first time he'd played it back at Ellen Road last season. Obviously there was no crowds there. It'd be a little bit of a different prospect here, but you think like the amount of games that he's played and like the amount of clubs that, you know, it just shows you how long probably Leeds have probably been out of the Premier League.
Just one on game management as well, Gaz, because, you know, at some point Virgil van Dijk will have to come out of the team. There will be that concern with the more games that come up about Joel Matip as well. It's which game is the right one to pull out a Virgil van Dijk or a Joel Matip, or isn't there one?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? You probably think that maybe like Champions League, sometimes there's not as much emphasis on durability in like the Champions League. I know they're big games, obviously, but but it's a different sort of game, Tom. It's not like the hustle and bustle of the Premier League. Again, it's like the fact that he's got options. He's got Joe Gomez. He's got the likes of Konate. He's got Nat Phillips. I think Nat's still there, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he has different options, whereas last season he didn't have these options. So I do think there will be a rotation in the centre-back position. I think that's just inevitable with the way that it has gone in the past, with the likes of Gomez and the likes of Matip being a little bit like injury prone. And let's face it, I think Matip, to me, at this moment in time, has probably been the best centre-back we've had. He looks really, really good. And I've said it all along, if he's fit, I think he plays Joel Matip, because for me, he's as good as what we've got, to be quite honest.
See, I think he's looking better as the games go on, Virgil van Dijk, and I know that. But we've got the Carabao Cup games, and that is a gimme. That's have a couple of days off. Never mind, have one day off. I have a couple of days off. I just think we're in such a group in that Champions League. I think it's a tough one.
No,
I think we've got to have better players.
You say that, but you say that, but like you're talking about like AC Milan. AC Milan are not the AC Milan with like Paolo Maldini and Baresi and people like that. They're not the same team. Albeit like they've got a big name, but I'm not saying it's an easy game. It's a tough old group, but you're assessing AC Milan on like teams of the past, not like the team of the present.
It's the first game and it's at home. I think we've got to put a marker down. We've got to win that game, because I think
I'm not
it's
saying
going to get. Yeah. No, but somewhere along the line, you've got to try and give them a rest. How do you give them a rest? Where do you do it? I would think more look at the Carabao Cup games.
I don't think this is the stage of the season where you're giving them rest. Though I think it becomes maybe next month or the month after. That's when you start resting them.
OK, these boys are friends behind the scenes. We love a good debate in the studio. Let's catch up with the manager now, because he was looking ahead to this match, and of course he was probably debating the same thing with Pep Lijnders during the week as well. Busy run of games now. He knows that utilising the full use of his squad will be key in this period too.
Absolutely, that's how it is. And you know, we are Liverpool. That means everybody expects us to win each game. So it's not about, hey, here we can a little bit, whatever. So yes, but we will use each source, each leg we have, and we'll try to be as successful as possible. I'm actually looking forward to it. So it's now really long enough. We had a long summer, we had a long pre-season. Now we had these 3 games with always a week in between, and now, come on, we are used to the rhythm with playing all 3 days. So we wanted, we were so happy to qualify for the Champions League. Now it starts, so all good.
You visited some special grounds in your time in England. Another traditional ground is Ellen Road, but this time it will be full as well. One of the most fearsome away grounds, I think, for a team to play.
heard about it, but can't say a lot about it. We have to probably ask Millie exactly how it is. But Millie knows it from both perspectives. Maybe not. Not sure he played there ever with another Premier League
I don't
team.
think he did. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
Don't think he
not.
ever
But
played
who
there
knows? But
against
he
them,
can
yeah.
tell us how it is, and he will tell us. And we are used to a very special atmosphere, obviously, when we play at home. In the Premier League, there are obviously some grounds with a really good atmosphere. So if Leeds is another one, good for them, and we have to deal with it.
How is that challenge different against the side that Marco Bielsa's in charge of? What kind of different challenges are there for a team coming up against them, do you think?
It's in general, Marco Bielsa's style and philosophy and how they defend is different. It's man marking over the whole pitch, so it's you have to know about it. But we had, with some players now, a week time to prepare it, and some only come back in training today but have recovery and stuff like this, so maybe tomorrow. And hopefully Saturday we have 2 sessions where we can properly prepare it. But it's special. It's against Leeds, high intense. They go for it. They are good in possession. I think so far they're second or third in possession. Didn't have the points yet they want to have, but they for sure think they have a good chance against us. But they didn't play us yet in this season. We are hopefully as good as we can, and then we are difficult to play. How always, when we are difficult to play, we have a chance to win, and that's what we try.
Looking a bit sweaty there. The gaffer had been playing in a staff game just prior to that. The manager's team won. Is that always the way it happened? The manager's team, you played as long as it took for them to win.
Oh, we didn't play. We didn't play. Certainly when I was with Gerard Houllier, we didn't play. See Gerard Houllier play football. God bless him.
Seen you play football.
Still going on this. Still going on.
No, staff teams didn't happen like that. Going back to when I was a kid, they were special games. They were on mini Wembley there with Shankly and Paisley and all them. What a battle it was just with them. And they were like 60, 65. They still beat us kids. They cheated most of the time.
It's usually tennis they play now, but that was good to see them playing in a little behind closed doors game. How do you see this one going? You were saying there it's completely different, maybe preparing to come up against the Marco Bielsa team than any other in the Premier League. It's the match of the day, isn't it? Without any debate, really. Match of the weekend, probably.
Well, I think when you look at Leeds and you look at Liverpool, there's similarities, isn't there? Like high intensity, people closing down high up the pitch. The one thing Leeds, they probably don't get the credit for is they can play as well. They can play from all positions. They can play at the back, they can play through the lines, but they will put you under pressure. Last season, I mean, there was a couple of really good saves, wasn't there, that really kept us in the game. But overall, you just know that you're going to have to work exceptionally hard if you're going to get anything not just at Ellen Road, at Anfield as well. We had a cracking game there, first game of the last season, 4-3. They created lots of opportunities, but I think there will be goals in this game, and I think it's a fixture to look forward to. And he talks about this man marking system. I didn't quite see that, to be quite honest with you. I know like they marked quite tightly, but I'm not 100% sure where he comes with that. I'll have to have a look when I'm doing commentary tonight.
Yeah, because it was interesting, if I remember rightly, and I didn't think about it until he mentioned it. And I remembered him following the players all around, Salah and Mane, following them, going inside, running into the centre of the pitch, and then other people covering. So it's quite intense if you've got to do that sort of thing. But I remember we had enough possession, we created enough half chances, not sort of great chances. They are a good side. They're going to be pushed on by the crowd. So hopefully that will enable us to sort of get in behind them, especially when they turn over a possession, us go for them very, very quickly.
I think when you looked at them last season, I mean, they scored a lot of goals, but they lost a lot of goals as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, they give you opportunities, don't they?
Yeah,
well, they conceded 8 already, and hopefully that continues today. So it is there, but I think one of their record, I think they were one of the best scoring from outside the box last season. So I think that's got to be looked at as well if they're going to be taking pot shots.
OK, well, this was just the start of our Matchday coverage. Plenty more to come today on LFC TV and LFC TV Go. We're back on Matchday Live from 3:30. Then it's live audio commentary from 4:30. Steve Hunter and Ronnie Whelan take you through the action. That's followed by Matchday Reaction, where we'll look back on the 90 minutes we hope with a win, with exclusive post-match interviews, of course. and reaction to Liverpool's trip to Leeds. So, LFC TV, the place to be this afternoon. Gents, thank you for that, for the fierce debate that came with it as well. We hope to see more of that when we see you back at 3:30. But for the moment, thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.